insane. Crumbling towers, streets in flames, forgotten heroes, who knows their names? Broken futures, shattered dreams, end of times ain't what it seems.
Hello friends, this is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, June 10th, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. I think we'll have Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy joining us today. I'm not sure. I think we will, though. So, what do we got today? We got more riots in LA. It seems it's continuing. We're going to go over that. Major geopolitical developments. Little Marco, Secretary of State Rubio, and the State Department, essentially, U.S. government, have condemned our spying partners, the Five Eyes. Was it Canada, New Zealand, UK, Australia, America, composed the Five Eyes of spying all up on each other. And so today, Little Marco condemned them over their condemnation of Aardvark land. And so we're hanging out here all by ourselves, us and Aardvarks. It's getting real bad, man. It's getting really freaking bad. Got that to cover. The genocide continues there. They deported Greta. She's lucky she didn't get genocided herself, actually, in my opinion. But so Greta's safe. I know everybody was I was worrying about Greta, but she's safe, thankfully. Maybe she was too high profile to genocide. I don't know. They're pretty damn crazy, and they've killed like 200 something journalists over there already. They don't really seem to give a damn who they kill. They just say you're Hamas. It's good enough for America. So that's where we're at. We've got White House is pushing the big, beautiful bill, big time, bigly, as Trump would say. And it's not very good, honestly. It's not good for us taxpayers over here, and us fans of privacy. And maybe, maybe we do need some regulation on this AI takeover. Google today said they're trying to buy out their employees because AI is they're undercutting their own. They're cutting their own throat in the search engine market with AI here, because most people now, they're saying, or the trend is not even to use search engines, just go directly to AI. And that's a cautionary tale, because you also need to check AI about what the hell it's telling you, as most of these AIs are all woke and they want to give you the official narrative, which we know is 6 months away from being debunked, if even that, at this point. So be aware, using AI as your search engine. Okay, what else do we got today? A lot of back and forth with the LA situation. We'll take a deeper look at the No Kings side of it. You're not anti-establishment when you're propped up by the establishment. Sorry, left-wing protesters, to tell you this. You should be protesting the exact all these orgs that are sponsoring the No Kings protest here. If you're real, I have no problem protesting Trump, but protest the rest of these fools too, because they're all corrupt oligarchs. Let's be honest about the situation, about what the hell's really going on here. We got a little public health news. More pounding on, I think I'll just report it every show. Palantir runs California's energy grid here. Nobody seems to care. Maybe you'll care when your energy bill is $1 million. Maybe you'll care. It's almost more than it is more than some people's mortgage payments here in California, and still no one cares. It's literally, it's frustrating to say the least. Bilderberg Group meeting, and they don't have their official website up, but the Bilderberg Group meeting is kicking off today. And they're making it harder this year to find information about it, but we'll report on it what we can here. And of course, the Greater Eurasian Partnership here is being announced. Credit to Simon. He brought this to our attention. And so they're having the, They're having the Minsk conference on Eurasian security yesterday and today. And they're paying special attention to the formation of the Great Eurasian Partnership, as Simon has been banging on about for years now. And so it's all coming out here. And so we have that to report about. We've got, more genocide, more aardvark genocide. So we're going to throw all of our other partners here, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and UK, all of our other spy partners, we're going to throw them under the bus for aardvark land. But I guess it's fitting because we have an aardvark-run government, apparently, here now. So screw you other Five Eyes nations. Aardvark land first, baby. All of that. Yemen claims that it has hit Aardvark Land's Ben Gurion Airport with one hypersonic missile. Is that true? I don't know. Aardvarks usually say it's intercepted. I don't know. Do we have video of it? There's like stuff blowing up in the sky. It's hard to tell, really. You know what I mean? So we got that. All of that reporting and more. Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy is on the line. He'll be joining us. I don't want to leave him hanging too long. Let's get to, but before anything here, let me tell you guys, the Weaponized News Hounds audience, you guys did it. I thank you. I did it, but you guys did it because you helped. We still haven't heard from Barry, sadly, but you know what we did is we got monetized on YouTube over there, and so here's the little thing. Finally, after we worked off our last strike. So thank you very much, Weaponized News audience. You guys did it to help me and Weaponized News, and I really do appreciate it. Honestly, it's harder now to make any money off of the deal. Still, you got to get millions upon millions of views, but hey, it's something until we get banned again. But here it is, and I do truly appreciate everyone that pitched in and help Weaponized News become monetized on YouTube. So there it is, Weaponized News. You are now a YouTube partner. Until they give us another strike for God knows what, as we toe the community guidelines line on the YouTube. But thank you guys for helping out in that campaign, helping out in the effort. We saw it all the way through and we completed it. So quite an achievement, I'd say, coming back from being delisted from Google, banned, and to come back and be monetized here now, like almost 5 years later. So we do truly appreciate Weaponized News Hounds audience out there for helping us out in that effort. The final threshold for YouTube monetization, so every possible way that you could be monetized on there until we get a strike again. Our new campaign will be to get 1,000 subscribers over to our YouTube channel, but we checked every other box except for that, or some other one. I don't make the shorts videos because I don't have cleavage. You know what I mean? But I guess if you can get 10 million views or something on your 90-second video, I don't know, maybe we'll try for that. Anyway, thank you, Weaponized News audience, news hounds out there, for helping us reach that goal and fulfill that campaign. Finally, it took a really long time due to a strike on the account. And surprisingly enough, YouTube has agreed to, what did it say again? Let me pull it up here. There you go. You are now a YouTube partner until you're banned again. They didn't say that part, but we hate Trump, YouTube. So there you go. That should be enough. We should get boosted for that, right? Okay. On to this day in history. On this day of June 10th, going back to the year 1639, the first American log cabin at Fort Christina, Wilmington, Delaware, was built. In 1652, John Hull opens the first mint in America in Boston. In the year 1692, we saw the first victim of the Salem witch trials. Bridget Bishop is hanged after being found guilty of witchcraft in the colony of Massachusetts. In 1752, Benjamin Franklin tests the lightning conductor with his key flying experiment. We'll have to ask Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy what he thinks of that experiment. In 1760, New York passes the first effective law regulating the practice of medicine. Cuomo's running for, it's probably like the front runner for mayor of New York City now, if that tells you anything about where New York's at with regulating the practice of medicine, if you get what I'm saying. In the year 1768, British customs officials seized John Hancock's ship, the Liberty, the quote Liberty was its name, on the suspicion that Hancock had illegally unloaded cargo without paying duties a month earlier. I think we reported when that event occurred about a month ago. Also, simultaneously, riots break out in Boston after custom officials seize John Hancock's cargo for not paying duties. So he did cause a riot there, similar to LA today, right? In 1793, we saw the first public zoo open in Paris. Now you can just look at the news about Los Angeles and see our current public zoo in 2025. In 1801, Tripoli declares war on America for refusing tribute. In 1847, Chicago Tribune begins publication. In 1898, U.S. Marines land in Cuba as part of a U.S.-Mexico war. In 1933, John Dillinger robs his first bank, taking $10,600 from the National Bank in New Carlisle, Ohio. $10,600 in 1933 was quite a bit of money. And also in 1933, on this day, FDR, executive order to make Mount Rushmore part of the National Park Service, was passed. We need to do away with all executive orders and make them actually do their job in Congress and pass laws. In 1935, Alcoholics Anonymous was founded by Bill Wilson and Dr. Robert H. Smith. Today was Dr. Robert H. Smith's last drink for you alcoholics out there. In 1940, Canada declares war on Italy, part of World War II. Also in 1940, Italy declares war on France and the UK on this day. More of World War II. In 1945, U.S. destroyer William D. Porter, or affectionately known as Willie D., is sunk by Japanese kamikaze planes in the Pacific. In 1947, Saab, the automobile manufacturer, produces its first automobile. In 1967, we saw an end of the Six-Day War after aardvarks failed to sink the USS Liberty and bring the United States into that war, thankfully. And nobody wants to talk about that, right? And in 1975, Rockefeller panel reports on 300,000 illegal CIA files on Americans, and no one gets in trouble. Illegal, unconstitutional spying on Americans, even back in 1975, who cares? Some civil rights, what's our civil liberties? We had a couple. Oh, how could we miss this? In 1917, sorry, I got out of chronological order today. On this day in 1917, the American Aardvark Congress was founded. And I don't know what we'd do without them, you know. And also on this day in 1968, taxpayers can sue the government over unconstitutional practices. Well, we better start suing, right? Because everything they do nowadays is unconstitutional, it seems. But who the hell can pay for the lawyer that's going to go and throw the lawsuit anyway because he's a hack, right? Maybe you could find a good lawyer. Good luck. Anyway, on this day, the Supreme Court, in the case Flast versus Cohen, ruled that taxpayers do have standing to sue the government for spending money on unconstitutional practices. Well, there should be lawyers, civil rights lawyers around the block lined up taking lawsuits. They're few and far between. Where are they? Oh, they're all hacks. Sorry. Florence Flast and others had sued Wilbert Cohen of Aardvark persuasion. I added that part. Secretary of Health, Education and Welfare, because Health, Education and Welfare Department was spending funds on religious schools in violation of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The district court had ruled that Flask lacked standing to sue. They love that one. Oh, who cares? You don't have an interest in it, so you don't have standing, right? They love that, to throw your case out. But and the Supreme Court overturned the ruling, surprisingly enough. The decision did not address the question of whether the spending in question on religious schools was unconstitutional. The spending in question was authorized by the 1965 Elementary and Secondary Education Act, which in a major compromise authorized some limited categories of government funds for private and parochial schools. With that, let's go to our segue here. Where is our segue? Oh, here's our segue from our Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, fear-mongering about thermonuclear war here. And so we do appreciate the fear-mongering coming out of the intelligence agencies as we question the destructive power of nuclear weapons.
I recently visited Hiroshima in Japan and stood at the epicenter of a city that remains scarred by the unimaginable horror caused by a single nuclear bomb dropped in 1945, 80 years ago. It's hard for me to find the words to express what I saw, the stories that I heard, the haunting sadness that still remains. This is an experience that will stay with me forever. This attack obliterated the city, killed over 300,000 people, many dying instantly while others died from severe burns, injuries, radiation sickness, and cancer that set in the following months and years. Nagasaki suffered the same fate. Homes, schools, families, all gone in a flash. The survivors, the hibakusha, they carried the pain of extreme burns, radiation sickness, and loss for decades. Survivors of this attack were asked to put in paintings and drawings their own memories and how they felt and what they saw, and those paintings and the suffering that they conveyed, the pain and the sense of loss were almost more powerful than the photos themselves. Yet this one bomb that caused so much destruction on Hiroshima was tiny compared to today's nuclear bombs. The bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima had a yield of just 15 kilotons of TNT, whereas today's nuclear warheads range in size from 100 kilotons to over 1 megaton. A single nuclear weapon today could kill millions in just minutes. Just one of these nuclear bombs would vaporize everything at its core: people, buildings, life itself. The shockwave would crush structures miles away, killing and maiming countless people. And then comes the fallout. Radioactive poison spreading through the air, water, and soil, condemning survivors to agonizing deaths or lifelong suffering. A nuclear winter could follow, with smoke and ash completely blocking the sun, plunging the world into darkness and cold, killing crops and starving billions. Acid rain would scar the earth, wiping out entire ecosystems. This isn't some made-up science fiction story. This is the reality of what's at stake, what we are facing now. Because as we stand here today, closer to the brink of nuclear annihilation than ever before, political elite and warmongers are carelessly fomenting fear and tensions between nuclear powers. Perhaps it's because they are confident that they will have access to nuclear shelters for themselves and for their families that regular people won't have access to. So it's up to us, the people, to speak up and demand an end to this madness. We must reject this path to nuclear war and work toward a world where no one has to live in fear of a nuclear holocaust.
Well, thanks for that, fear monger. Yeah. I don't know why she would put that out, but wow. Thomas from Alpha Mega Energy, how you doing on this Tuesday?
Doing all right here over in Asia. The intelligence agencies trying to foment riots over here too. You can see the buildup of it currently over here, using the same strategy. The CIA playbooks, right? How to conquer countries by fomenting riots. Riot for Hire, their Riot for Hire program. Mike Benz, another aardvark, mind you, has been exposing this since June 3rd. He did review the documents, the public documents, declassified documents from the CIA, outlining all of this, the entire strategy of riots for hire. Quite a good piece. I just reached out to him, invited him onto California's Weaponized News. We'll see if we get any response from him. A pretty tough guy to get a hold of with a massive following, but I'm after a few different guests here, sending out the invites. People would be nice to get on Weaponized News.
What do you think of this? Can nukes do what the Director of National Intelligence just told us? What do you think of this?
Well, yeah, when Rogue there, Rogue from X-Men. Oh wait, was that Tulsi Gabbard?
That's her.
Rogue from X-Men. Maybe we should show the pictures of Rogue here.
There she is. Yeah, with the funky wave in the hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's modeling herself off of this spy in the X-Men cartoon character series here. You can pull this up, Sam, and show the
Yeah,
the
it's
audience,
crazy, right?
This is Rogue from X-Men. When all the Gen Xers were kids, they all saw this, right? It's got even got the X on the belts, right? For I don't know if that's Gen X or what, but so she modeled herself after this, and of course she's right, three-letter agency,
A little cartoon character.
individual, right? Making it super obvious of who she is and what, you know, her little fantasy of the girl growing up, what she wanted to become and whatnot, and she went into that industry and is such now. So, and hence the flip-flopping of different political parties and everything else. One week a Democrat, the next week a conservative, just like all of these people that you see, flip-flopping from Dr. Oz to Jane Rubenstein, for those not familiar. Rubenstein, just like a Jack Ruby, Rubenstein, and you have Jane Rubenstein, and you have Naomi Wolf, famous San Francisco aardvark, and her mother was literally the founder of the feminazi movement under the Rockefeller CIA Esalen Institute out of San Francisco, and Big Sur under the Esalen Institute, which is like an open Jeffrey Epstein's island just on the mainland.
Yeah, I like her. She tweets me sometimes.
Tulsi Gabbard?
No, Wolf.
Oh, Naomi Wolf.
Mm-hmm. I had her retweet me a couple times, and anyway, she's also a Rhodes Scholar. So yeah, she's deep up, trained up by the establishment, 100%.
Yeah, and I posted about this.
But apparently she went rogue, and she's with the people now. Is what the front that she's putting on. Maybe she is. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. That's clearly not the case. And this is how they run their.
She exposed a lot of stuff. You know, the old.
She didn't expose anything. She's just repeating everything that's already been exposed.
Well, she had a team of people when they released all that, all the Pfizer documents that nobody else reported on like her. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but yeah, definitely
Those were already out.
Definitely trained up. Well, it was out, but nobody really did the analysis like that. But anyway, definitely trained up, born and bred by the establishment. That's 100% for sure.
Yeah, and not talking about any of the history, cutting off, gatekeeping all of the history of the Venom agents, the Venom chassis based technology, as stated in the public record.
You're getting banned on YouTube. We just barely got on there. We can't talk about that on YouTube. But save that for another show, not on YouTube.
Yeah, right now. Well, just referencing public record. So
yeah, they don't like that. They're trying to flush the public record right now as we speak, getting rid of all humans. There's Google just announced layoffs or trying to buy people out, which they're saying is the new layoff. And so they're trying to get rid of the humans as fast as they can here now. What do we make of this? Today, Trump says that calls for 1 year in jail for anyone who burns the American flag. I thought that was our First Amendment right. The Supreme Court has already ruled it is our First Amendment right. And so what does the saying go? If you're a true First Amendment supporter, then you can disagree 100% with burning the American flag, which I do. I don't think you should be burning the American flag, but you also, on the other side, have to support people's right to do it, or you're a hypocrite. Here's Trump at this, I forget, this is some type of military, I think it's the Marines, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He's giving a speech today. Let's hear him.
Before we jump into it, I'll just make one comment on to one of our commenters here saying, quote, "What did Naomi Wolf do? We're not even allowed to discuss on YouTube what Naomi Wolf did. So you want to talk about gatekeepers and gatekeeping, there you go. Go ahead."
Good point there. Okay, here's Trump today calling about 1 year in jail for burning the American flag, but only if it's made in China, right? If it's made in America, then you get 5 years.
Our country, or from people that love our country, People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year. And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved. And I know the 2 senators from here. I think are you guys in favor of it? Boy, would this be a...
I'm sorry, that's authoritarian. That's not freedom. I'm sorry, MAGA. It's simply not. It's already been established. There's the principle of free speech, the First Amendment. It's already been fought over a long time ago here in America and already established. And so he wants to bring back authoritarianism, essentially. If you don't worship the federal flag of America, and you know what I mean? And so that undermines the First Amendment right there, as they're doing with many anti-aardvark hate speech laws as well. And so we're seeing a very authoritarian Trump here coming out of the gates in the second term after the whole we're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. That turned out to be a giant fraud with Doge. We know what it was really for was to put Foundry Palantir operating system in charge of the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, amongst other federal agencies. And so all of this has come out here now, and Trump's acting like a real tyrant here, honestly. YouTube, Trump is acting like a tyrant. Not good. Okay.
Yeah, we should be able to burn the flag, the American flag. Maybe we should burn it on Weaponized News. Just because we can to make this statement, though. I'm not so.
He'll be more mad if you burned an aardvark flag, Thomas.
Yeah, he'd be very angry about that.
They'll drone you. They'll literally have a meltdown. Start friggin'.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's even much worse. We should actually do it. Burn one of each and see what the anger level is, right? To compare.
Yeah,
it to, will you be as angry?
Which one I get swatted by faster? Yeah, that'll be fun. Yeah. Okay, more fake terrorism here from the intelligence agencies. This is nonsense. Here's a report out of New York Post. We know it's established now. It's established that UK, US, whatever, Five Eyes, whatever you want to call it, Western intelligence is arming, funding, and radicalizing these Islamic terrorist groups in large part, at least the leadership. Islamic terror leader calls for Trump, J.D. Vance assassination over pro-aardvark views. And so it's just beyond stupid, but they keep pumping this nonsense to us. The leader of Al-Qaeda, this guy, is this even real? You know what I mean? I think this may be AI, but this guy, bin Atif al-Awlaki, called for American Muslims to wage jihad and also the assassination of American officials, including Trump, Vance, and Musk, amongst others. Of course, never.
Greta was deported. I haven't heard this yet.
You didn't know that? We got that. We'll play this report from the intelligence agencies, and don't even threaten a public official. We've been warning about that here on Weaponized News. They will come down on you hard. But let's hear from this Western intelligence agent hack, and they're still trying to sell us the idea that there's the boogeyman Al-Qaeda out there when they've been running it the entire time. Can we get it to play? Maybe we don't even need it to play. Let's see. Continue on next. Let's hear from the scary boogeyman with the beard, who's actually doubles as a Western intelligence agent. You better bet.
الآن كإجراء عملي أولي كل مسلم على أرض أمريكا الكافرة المجرمة المتغطرسة سواء أكان من أصول عربية أم أمريكية أو غيرها، المهم أن يكون دينه الإسلام ونبيه محمدا عليه الصلاة والسلام، والذين بلغ تعدادهم 4.5 مليون مسلما في أمريكا وحدها. نقول لهم جميعا الثأر الثأر، لا تشاوروا أحدا في قتل الأمريكان الكفرة، ولتكن همتكم كبيرة وقائمة استهدافاتكم مؤثرة، فدونكم عتاة الأرض وأكابر مجرميها، فهذا ترامب ونائبه، وهذا مستشاره وداعمه ماليا وإداريا وتقنيا إيلون ماسك، وهذان وزيرا خارجيته ودفاعه وأهلوهم أجمعين، وكل من يمت لساسة البيت الأبيض بصلة أو قرابة.
And so clearly setting the stage for another false flag terrorist attack there. And if they could get some useful idiot Muslims to do it organically, they'd love that too. But setting the stage there, thankfully the Rupert Murdoch owned New York Post there out of News Corp with that story. It's just so cartoonishly stupid at this point. But we're still in the war on terror 25 years after 9/11 here.
Right.
So
on the TV show, where have we seen this before? I mean, remember when they did that all through, 2001 to 2014? They were endlessly doing this, and then they stopped and shifted to full focus on Ukraine, and then we haven't seen it since. And now it's back.
It's back. They got bored. And they're like, aardvarks are pissing everybody off. Let's throw out some. Throw a jihadi out there.
Yeah, maybe a deal with Ukraine. They're talking about now where Russia might possibly be getting half of Ukraine. They're talking about, I don't know the details on this yet. Probably Simon does, as I've been quite busy not looking at that. But if that's the case, and well, they got to find something else to focus on and do now. So hey, hire a riot. And then they're certainly ramping things up in a number of different spheres. Certainly Cambodia, they're all around it. You can see the action. And also India, Pakistan, Kashmir, China, etc. They're fomenting things there as well. It's interesting. Where are they going? Where exactly are they going to pop off next? And then they've got these actions in Colombia. They're fomenting bunch of actions in Colombia. Then, of course, Venezuela, they're hard at work, been hard at work for a very long time there. So there's a number of theaters they're working in. So we'll see.
Let's come back here to America. White House is selling the big, beautiful bill real hard, as hard as they've tried to sell anything. And they go through all the different benefits, but I wanted to focus on this one today. We covered it a little bit yesterday, but of course they want to ban any state regulation of AI, which is a big one. They want to do a bunch of spying and a bunch of tyranny in it, but the White House is on us the great tax benefits it's going to be. But I want to focus on this one part today because it speaks to the level of corruption that we're facing here. MAGA, if you pull your head out of your rear end and stop worshiping Trump, then maybe you could see this and push back and not go along with this BS. But the area I want to focus on today, because that's what the White House is focusing on, the $1,000 child Trump accounts are a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to uplift the next generation. They are fully funded through targeted reforms in the one big, beautiful bill. That's a quote from Trump. Let's play the clip from him, and then we'll dig a little bit deeper about who is behind this $1,000 of miracle money. I'm still waiting on my Doge $5,000 check. I'm still waiting for him to audit the IRS or audit the Fort Knox. I'm still waiting for the Pentagon to pass an audit as we hand them another $1 trillion+, and none of that has happened. And we don't know, the money's not properly accounted for, and it's just flushed down a black hole. But hey, we're going to throw you some chump change. Here's $1,000. Let's hear from Trump, and then we'll learn about who is behind this and giddy at the prospect. Part of the big, beautiful bill.
I want to thank you for being here as we discuss one of the most exciting parts of the one big, beautiful bill, the Trump accounts, as they call it, pilot program, which will make it possible for countless American children to have a strong start in life. For every U.S. citizen born after December 31st, 2024, before January 1st, 2029, the federal government will make a one-time contribution of $1,000 into a tax-deferred account that will track the overall stock market. This is a pro-family initiative that will help millions of Americans harness the strength of our economy to to lift up the next generation. They are fully funded through targeted reforms in the One Big Beautiful Bill, like the $1.7 trillion in mandatory savings, welfare reforms to stop waste and fraud, a 3.5% remittance tax, and more.
This legislation is geared for hardworking Americans, and it is going to help everybody.
We see the Invest America Act and the establishment of these Trump accounts as a simple yet powerful way to transform lives.
This initiative gets at the core of binding those future generations to the benefits and the potential of America's great companies and markets.
The One Big Beautiful Bill is among the most important pieces of legislation in our country's history.
It's the next piece. The Big Beautiful Bill is the next piece to streamline technocracy, scientific dictatorship. Okay, so they want to give a newborn $1,000. That's going to make them a millionaire, right? If you had insider trading knowledge like Congress. But who's supporting this? Well, these crooks are. And this is also reposted by the White House. This crook right here, Vlad Tiniv, and he's the CEO and co-founder of Robinhood app. And you go and look at, well, what's up with Robinhood app? They're the good guys. They allow retail traders. Well, no, it turns out they're actually crooks too, because flashback to the meme stock wars, their GameStop, when retail traders were actually profiting and undermining hedge funds that are all battling for the value of GameStop, if you could remember that. What's the guy, Kitty? Anyway, when retail traders were profiting, Robinhood, the trading app, shut it off and did not allow retail traders, that's me and you, Joe Blows out there trying to make a buck on the market. They didn't allow it anymore because the little guy was actually making a profit. And so that's just one example about who's backing up your $1,000 account. There is Robinhood. Thomas, what do you think of this? Can we trust these guys?
Yeah, clearly the Robinhood has been exposed already as being deep state criminals. Another hijack, another hijack, just like FTX. It's another hijack, just like FTX is what that is. They're not legitimate. They've acted against their users on multiple occasions in criminal conspiracy with their partners, collaborators like Citadel Securities, who's been shown to be completely corrupt as well and been involved in all kinds of different scandals.
But they sold themselves as we're for the little guy, and look, they have an eagle on their little app here. Jumpstart your child's financial future by claiming a $1,000 government contribution for your new child.
You see all of these new programs being funneled through these aardvark companies, aardvark prop-up companies, and all of these new programs they're only funneled through them. It's not something that's open where you can choose where you want to go, like always before. It's a total corporate takeover. It's on one single platform and one single company's platform, and that's it. Right? Okay, you have a government AI, etc. It's not open to absolutely everybody. It's not an open platform. It's right. It's going to be Palantir. The $1,000 for the children. Oh, it's going to be only Robinhood. Oh, this other tax break. It's going to be only this company, right? Some new special tax rebate something. Okay, that's going to go through Elon Musk's Tesla Motors, right? Let's
hear their sales pitch. It's it's all pay for play. Insiders are getting the money. The government's corrupt. Sorry to tell you, it's a crime syndicate. Invest America, Robinhood, and Uber CEO support the One Big Beautiful Bill. Of course they do, because it's technocracy, and like Thomas just got done saying, they're going to make big money out of it, laughing at your $1,000 chump change.
I'm Brad Gerstner. I'm with Invest America.
Hey, Vlad Tiniv here, CEO and co-founder of Robinhood.
Hi, this is Dara Khosrowshahi, and I am the CEO of Uber.
This is Congressman French Hill, and I represent Little Rock, Arkansas. And it's such a pleasure to be at the White House today with President Trump and hear about Invest in America.
Invest America is an initiative that will give every child born in this country $1,000 to begin investing at birth.
This is the type of thing that's in this important reconciliation bill, this big, beautiful bill that we need to get past the Senate to really have that impact that we need for so many Americans.
We're incredibly thankful for President Trump for his support of these initiatives that are going to Main Street and America and helping everyday people succeed.
In my view, this is a key reason for all members to come together and support the big, beautiful bill.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. We didn't vote for that.
Here's something I can mention about Naomi Wolf. There's this Edge Foundation here. We'll pop this up. People can see this. Okay, so we have this Edge Foundation, and she's still very close with her ex-husband. There's this Edge Foundation here. This Edge Foundation was financed by Jeffrey Epstein, and it hosted an annual billionaires dinner. It's still going, right? They say it stopped once Epstein funded the organization, but it's actually still going. And people contributing to Edge, listed as of April 2025, right? They're still contributing apparently. So what's going on there? You have people still contributing to it. What's happening? And there's 922 known members of this Edge Foundation, this billionaires group, and it's mostly aardvarks. And Naomi Wolf and her husband were members of this. Let me go to Wolf. So you can see Nathan Wolf here. And hey, Ann Wojcicki, who just, right, I guess he died mysteriously, and her son died mysteriously, and on and on and on. So it's very interesting what she's been involved in, but she never talks about any of this. You notice that? So she's so supposedly anti-deep state or something. Supposedly, she'd have you believe, but she doesn't talk about anything whatsoever about what she's been involved in all her career. She's only repeating the already exposed stuff about COVID, about the injections and so on. Already exposed stuff. Taking up the spotlight, taking the headlight, collecting all of the followers, the whatnot, and then they can manage to make sure that the discussion never goes in some particular direction. That's called gatekeepers. It's a form of controlled opposition, and that's what they're doing, right? They centralize themselves into this so that, and they do this many times with many people to make sure that the conversation doesn't go anywhere. It's the new narrative media agenda, and they don't want to go any further. That's how they do it. And that's
the Rhodes Scholar, dude. Once you're trained up in that, I think you're pretty much you are the establishment. Okay.
Well, it's the Esalen Institute, the Rockefeller, San Francisco, right, born in San Francisco, is a lifelong Democrat, and she doesn't say who she votes for.
She's part of the.
She doesn't say
the Clinton administration as well. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't say, "Oh, I'm a Trump voter. Oh, I'm a conservative. Oh, I'm a Republican." She doesn't say any of that, and doesn't mention anything about aardvarks. Doesn't mention Memorandum 200. Doesn't mention Henry Kissinger. Doesn't go into any of this. Doesn't talk about, hey, who engineered?
Well, we're going to get her. We're going to get her that info, and she's going to report on it. I have faith.
Right. Of course, she knows all about it because she was working for them.
Well, she's at the freaking meetings with them talking about it. Of course, she knows. Okay, let's move on to LA riots. We got a lot to cover there. I guess they're rioting again today, but it's for what is going on here in LA. Trump vows to liberate Los Angeles as he speaks to troops at Fort Bragg. Can you liberate a city that doesn't want to be liberated? Here, let's go from, I think this is from yesterday. This is from the White House, though. Old immigration czar Tom Homan. Let's hear what he had to say on the War Channel, Fox News, about this whole situation. No one's above the law. Well, arrest the politicians. Start there. The mayor, the governor, county board of supervisors, city council. Start there, but they won't. They refuse to. So.
Well, as a matter of fact, we got over 100 teams out today enforcing immigration law, and we're going to flood the zone. I've said for a month, sanctuary cities, you don't want us to arrest these bad guys that you just listed out. We could arrest them in safety and security of the county jail, but they won't let us into jail. They release them into the community, which means we got to send a whole bunch of teams in the community to find this dangerous person that don't want to be found. So sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want: more officers in the communities and more officers in worksite. We can't arrest them in jail or arrest them in the community. If we can't arrest them in the community, we're going to increase worksite enforcement operation. We're going to flood the zone. And based on what LA is doing right now, we're going to continue to flood the zones. We're going to be there tonight. We're going to be there tomorrow. We're going to be there every day in the next 4 years, arresting public safety threat illegal aliens. We're not going to apologize for doing it. So we're not going anywhere, Jesse. We're going to do the job the American people voted Donald Trump in office for.
So I guess there'll be riots from now on in LA. Apparently, he says they're going to be there the next 4 years with ICE raids on illegal aliens. This should be fun. I don't want to go to LA. Here's Trump saying it at the aforementioned that he will liberate LA.
Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what? They have it in Europe, too. It's happening in many of the countries of Europe. They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something before it's too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very.
Denver says Trump is restoring freedom by taking freedom away. See, I'm glad you understand in this Orwellian dystopia we find ourselves in. Let's hear now from Gavin Newsom, and they're putting on quite a show here. Gavin Newsom locks horns with Trump in a politically defining moment. Well, bring back political duels then. End all this nonsense. Pull out your little Dillinger or whatever, your little one shot, and take it back old school and cut all the BS, because all the old school American founding fathers would really be laughing at you and say you're not even serious because you won't take it to the street with a political duel over your disagreements. So let's just report out of NBC News and see what spin they put on the mostly peaceful protests that are in LA.
This morning, police patrolling the streets of Los Angeles with protests overnight and some more violent scenes. Cars set on fire and stores looted. Military tanks seen on the way to the city, part of the massive federal response ordered by President Trump, now mobilizing 700 active duty Marines to, quote, restore order. The federal government also now doubling the number of National Guard troops.
And until we went in, if we didn't do the job, that place would be burning down.
These demonstrators denouncing the show of military force on their streets.
National Guard out of LA!
These are the National Guard soldiers there. You can see them. They're standing off with protesters right now. These protesters are angry. They're yelling, shame, shame, ICE out of LA.
The protests overnight marking 4 days of scattered clashes and at times chaos, fueled by protesters furious about days of ICE immigration raids.
What is your message to ICE?
My message to ICE is that they need to follow the Constitution.
Since it began, protesters have shut down a major freeway, lit Waymo cars on fire, and thrown objects at officers, including this electric scooter that landed on a police car. LA's police chief speaking out.
There is no tolerance for criminal activity under the guise of protest.
But also saying federal troops going in without coordination with the city can create challenges.
Everybody's got a perspective, and that differs, but there is a heightened sense of anxiety, the uncertainty over the whole thing. What does it mean? What's going to happen? What are the troops in LA to do? And that is unclear to pretty much everybody at this time.
Tensions also growing between the Trump administration and California's leaders. The state's attorney general announcing a lawsuit against the Trump administration over its deployment of the National Guard, while the president suggested he's open to arresting Governor Gavin Newsom.
I would do it. I think it's great.
Newsom responding overnight.
Just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on.
This as more anti-ICE demonstrations erupt in other cities, including Austin and Dallas, as LA remains on edge.
So the
arrest them. He said, arrest them, and don't let them out. Hold them like just like an illegal with no deport him. Actually, get rid of Gavin Newsom, man, and then resign, and then I would have respect for Trump. But we know none of that is going to happen in my idea, anarchical utopia here. Let's hear from Brian Stelter. This guy's still around, surprisingly not back on CNN. And I guess we shouldn't trust that video we just saw. He says you can't trust videos on the internet about the riots because they're a couple hours old. Let's hear from this potato head.
And I've noticed, Brianna, we all live on our phones these days. We're all scrolling through social media. You've got to be careful at a delicate moment like this to look at the timestamps, look at the dates, look at when things are actually posted, and if they're really from the situation they're purporting to be. A lot of these algorithms are surfacing hours old or even days old content. So you might be looking at a video of something, wondering what's happening in LA. It's actually from 2 days ago. And that's, it only matters because it can give people a false impression of what's actually happening at a moment of unrest.
Yeah, so this is their scam to say, oh, everything is fake news if it's like if it's not only on CNN, right? It's all fake. It didn't happen. Oh, it's old. Oh, it's fake news because it's old. It's old. It's like an hour ago, and it's not on CNN. Right? Oh, they used a picture from a different protest because they didn't have one. So then it's fake. It's fake news, and it needs
Remember
to be taken off.
Remember when Chris Como was on CNN? He said that it's illegal for us to read the WikiLeaks, and only CNN can read the WikiLeaks, the Podesta files, and they'll tell us what it says. Remember that? That's crazy, man. Here's a video. I don't know. It could have been from last year. I'm pretty sure it's from like yesterday or maybe even today, of police on a horse beating a protester. I thought this was relevant. Ooh.
Shit.
There you go. Everybody knows LAPD.
Hey, that's great for feminism. That's women's equality, right? That's what all of the leftists want to see is females, white females, white liberals.
That was a strong
beating
woman.
the living right, yeah, beating the living hell out of unarmed, right, immigrant men, unarmed men who are like backing away and are no physical threat whatsoever, and hey, willing to be arrested and taken away, not making any kind of threatening motions at all, but just striking this guy, criminal assault there on video again and again and again, totally unprovoked. That's assault and battery.
They were going after the horse. Okay, here's Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, aardvark lover. He says that Gavin Newsom should be tarred and feathered. I guess that's a legitimate thing to say if he's saying it. Maybe if we say it, we'll get in trouble, but let's hear what he has to say.
And I'm not going to give you legal analysis on whether Gavin Newsom should be arrested, but he ought to be tarred and feathered.
Can we bring that back? Political duels, tar and feathering. Let's bring back that stuff because what we're doing right now doesn't seem to be getting their attention. Channel 5 reporter runs into a cop who used to be. This is funny right here. This is we'll play this and then take our live commercial break. This is funny. They are using racial slurs, so be aware. But it's pretty damn funny. Reporter from Channel 5 in LA runs into a cop he went to high school with. Watch this clip. It's pretty damn funny.
Hello, we went to high school together. Remember? Algebra? Yeah, algebra together. Oh, so you gonna beat my ass? We had algebra together, and that nigga failed twice. Why is that guy on his phone?
He failed algebra twice. Now he's a cop in a riot in LA.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's a spectacle. It's quite a spectacle, isn't it? But hire a riot when you can hire a riot.
You kids, study your math and do your algebra. You're going to wind up being a riot cop in LA, man. And who wants that? Especially when it's like summertime and hot. All that riot gear, it's got to be hot for.
But we've seen countless times throughout American history these massive riots that have been launched, and they're always very suspicious. Like the piles of bricks.
No, it's grassroots. It's grassroots 100%.
Hired instigators continuously, and what happens? These go on and on and on and on and on, and endless damage, and everybody complaining. Why the hell don't they just send in the troops? This is insane to let it continue. Obviously, the police are on stand down in those things. They're not going out there and arresting all of these people. They could just pull them all out, arrest them all, and just endlessly fill the cages continuously in a line, and it never happens. And everybody always regrets and is angry that they didn't send out the National Guard. And here Trump finally does it. And now everybody's complaining about that. I don't think anybody should complain about that. I'm happy that he sent them out, right? And
well, they always conflate it, right? The media and the government, the Democrats in this case, they conflate the idea of peaceful protest, your First Amendment, versus violent protest, destruction of property, assault on people, assault on police horses, looting. That's where you step over the line and violate the law and so on. But they conflate it. Oh, it's peaceful protest. Why are you being and so we're walking that fine line between allowing peaceful protest.
If Joe Crandon had done it, everybody would be for it. And the media would all be for it. Right, they make sure a Republican is not doing it so they can paint them as fascists and Nazis. On and on and on, of course, right? But the conservatives don't riot. They don't riot. So you can't do it. You can't have a Democrat.
They did January 6th. That's being brought up again. January 6th in D.C. was the big MAGA conservative riot. The insurrection, the worst.
3 hours, nothing burned, nothing torched. The only person that was calling to burn anything was the Jaden X, right, who is a part of the orchestration team, right? And he was the only person screaming to burn it. Nobody did anything. They just looked around like, what an idiot. And they went back to taking pictures on their old grandma tour. And in 3 hours, this is completely over. There wasn't 3, 4, 5 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 2 months of Chaz chop.
It's going to
criminal
go 4
violence.
years.
Right?
It's going to go on 4 years. They're telling us now.
Right, and the George Floyd, massive super scam, and all of the CNN hiding the baggie that he dropped against the wall, the baggie of fentanyl and whatever else, right? Criminally chopping it out of the photos to criminally rig a trial and rig the prosecution of Derek Chauvin and all of these other things. Involved in tainting the jury, tainting the public opinion. And I mean, all of these media should be completely sued by Chauvin. Notice he's not suing them, which shows you that the whole thing was an operation, because he would sue them for billions of dollars for doing that if there's anything legitimate to it at all.
They knew each other. He was a dirty cop working with freaking George Floyd to do all kind of prostitution, drug running. Who knows? Name your criminal activity, and they were doing it together as partners. But anyway,
right, and the owner of the bar literally had a media network, right?
I don't want to revisit that. Let's go to our live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself some stickers here, please. We got the white background, and for Pride Month, of course, everybody needs their holograph so you can be proud of Weaponized News. Put it on your work locker, your laptop, your bumper of your Cybertruck. Maybe get torched over there in one of these riots, and then sue them and claim it's because you got a Weaponized News sticker. And then, of course, the clear background as well. Put it on your guitar, your laptop, your bumper, your work locker. Weaponizednews.com. We appreciate the support. The next part of the campaign here is we need 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube. We have 639 right now, and that's the last threshold. And again, I appreciate the viewers. Thank you very much for helping us reach those viewing hour thresholds. But the final thing to meet all the thresholds on YouTube and they'll probably ban us the minute we do. But what the hell? Let's try it anyway. Is we need 1,000 subscribers. So if you're on any of these other platforms, please jump on over. And for full transparency, I'll go ahead and show you guys my administrative view here. So we're at 639. You can see I need 1,000 to reach the second tier of monetization. We have we are eligible for the first tier. You can see right here. You're a YouTube partner. Yeah, until they until they decide they don't like me anymore. I'm like riding the edge right now, right? I hate Trump, YouTube. Okay, maybe that'll put me over the edge. Anyway, you guys did this, the viewing audience out there. Look at all those hours watched. Blew away the 4,000, so I do appreciate it. Here's the other one. I don't really do short videos. You got to get 10 million views in 90 days. So you got to go mega viral basically on short videos. And we're never going to do that probably here at Weaponized News because we're like long form and we don't have boobs to show you or anything like this. So anybody on the other channels on Rumble, on X, on Bitchute, on Facebook, Twitch, Kick, please go over to Weaponized News and give us a follow, a subscribe over there, because it's, again, the final threshold as we are tiptoeing the community guidelines on YouTube to reach all of their monetization requirements. Thank you again. And now a word from our sponsor here, Abba Zaba Enterprises, and then we'll hear from Thomas.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abba Zaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abba Zaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250 for stress-free solutions.
Yes, Alpha Omega Energy is the world's #1 breakthrough clean energy technology startup in history with more than 5,702 now new energy and energy-related technologies. And I just had a meeting with a new social media platform from a famous Silicon Valley founder, you could say, who made a number of very large platforms in the past. And he's building another one to take on one of the big tech, quote unquote, right, big aardvark tech rivals. He's going to take them on head-to-head with new AI technology and a much better system. I just had a meeting with him, and he's got a massive electricity problem. And I said to him,
well, hey, just build a nuke.
Yeah, he doesn't really want to do that. And he's got a transformer and infrastructure problem as well. So I said to him, well, this particular competitor uses about $100 million a year in electricity that they're burning. And that equates to
$100 million. Their electricity bill's $100 million a year.
Yes, over $100 million a year.
That's sunk cost. You're never getting back. Yeah.
Right. It's a conservative estimate, and that on the stock market at the stock market price, current price of that kind of company, and your average tech and data center companies like Microsoft, etc., at 36.4 price to earnings ratio, which is where it's at now, and that category is at now. That equates to $3.64 billion in stock market capitalization, that one account of $100 million. So I said to him, I can save you probably 40 to 50% of that cost and put an extra $1.8 billion a year into your pocket. Would you like $1.8 billion? And maybe we can host some of your data center over here in Cambodia, low-cost Cambodia, and save you even more money. And so he's, of course, very interested in that. And said, I have a massive transformer problem right now. I need somebody to solve my transformer problem. And I said, well, if you host over here, we don't have any transformers. We don't need any transformers at all. There are no transformers.
There's no grid.
We plug directly into the server, the electricity right into the server, right into our own mini grid there's no need for any transformers because we don't use grids at all. So he's very interested, and we're going to have another meeting to talk about it. We don't need Alpha Omega Energy does not need that account, but just that account alone would give us a stock market value of about the same amount, $2 billion for Alpha Omega Energy. So if you're looking for a great investment, you want to help change the world, you want to see breakthrough energy come to fruition in this lifetime, as Israel moves to assassinate all of the Iranian nuclear scientists being passed their names by the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is how they just found out about this. Shockingly, that they didn't think all of this time that they would have been passing the names through the UN to Melissa Fleming, a Kissinger protege, but that's what they're doing. So that's how they're finding out who they are and then targeting them for assassination. So if you want to see some forward progress instead of nukes and more nuclear waste and more cancer and more radiation, and earn yourself a bunch of money in the process, please fund us, and we're going to continue building. But we don't need this account. But if we get it, that's right, a $2 billion market cap account for us, and we're done. We don't need any other customers at all, just this one. But we have over 50 big corporations, some of the biggest in the world, that we already canvassed, and they all want to buy electricity from us. No one has ever said no, except for one Chinese factory. And then we have the blockchain, we have all the cloud, we have everything else. So we have an incredible future. We just need to get our commercialization finished. We need a little bit of money to finish that off. I've been talking to more angel investors and venture capital investors, faith-based, trying to find the faith-based guys, which are hard to find, and making some good progress there and making more and more connections. So we're making some progress. We just need that little tiny check to get us over the line. So thank you in advance for supporting Alpha Omega Energy, and it's a pleasure to contribute to Weaponized News and what they're doing as well, and look forward to sponsoring them very big off of our earnings from Alpha Omega Energy in the future.
Exciting, Thomas. Thank you for sharing that message with us. Everybody go to, I didn't even put your, I'm going to put your handle here. The best way to get a hold of you is still over there on the X. Here's your X handle. You can message Thomas directly there at AOE VC Breakthrough, the bottom of your screen there. You can see his X handle. Thank you for that message. Okay, continuing here with the LA riot. Still, we got more footage. I don't know if we need to see more footage, but we got a message from Trump. He put this out today on his Truth Social. He says, if I didn't send in the troops to Los Angeles the last 3 nights, that once beautiful and great city would be burning to the ground right now. It already burned once in January, for those that can remember back that far, due to arson, but they told us it was climate change. Continuing, much like 25,000 houses burned to the ground in LA due to incompetent governor and mayor, incidentally. Well, it wasn't incompetence, it was all planned. The much more difficult, time-consuming, and stringent federal permitting process is virtually complete on these houses, while the easy and simple city and state permits are disastrously bundled up and way behind schedule. People can't even rebuild there. It's like pay for play, pay to build on your own property in LA. It's just the corruption level. That's what I'm saying. Arrest them all, because they're just beyond. You think Trump's corrupt? They're just as corrupt or even more. So here in their fiefdom of California, they all need to be arrested. But what do you do? And the entire government's a crime syndicate. People want to rebuild their houses. Call your incompetent governor and mayor. The federal permitting process is done. I didn't even know we needed a federal permitting process. Apparently we do. And so all the government is in our business about trying to build houses. But that is true what he's saying. They're not issuing state and local, county, and city building permits even, because the whole point of it is to build a 15-minute smart city. This is an iconic image. I don't know how they're going to win over people to their side. Sorry, Stelter. This is from June 9th, so I get yesterday, or I think it's even before that, but Homeland Security posted it yesterday. I guess it's not relevant anymore, but this is an iconic video of the kicking off of the riots there in LA. So there you go. Who wouldn't support that? Don't be a bigot. Support foreign country, Mexico flag waver there, or you're a bigot.
Does that white guy look Mexican to you? Does he look brown enough to be Mexican to you? Looks a little bit too Antifa white to me.
Maybe Antifa, paid provocateurs. I wouldn't put it past them. Speaking of that, I saw you sent me a bunch of these. Let's get into that part. Who is funding all this? Is this organic grassroots, as Denver in the comment says? I don't know, Denver. I think it looks paid for. Bioshields are being trucked in.
Sure is.
Bioshields? No, Denver didn't say that. I'm just joking. Denver knows what's up. He knows this is all engineered, but these cost around $60. Let's take a look at this video about these bioshields for riots, essentially being handed out to the rioters.
Where it just feels like something's going to happen and you're waiting for it to happen. And you can look around, you see the National Guard in front of the federal building, but as far as this intersection where we're seeing all this take place, there's no local police to be seen. Yeah. And we have people handing out masks and gas masks, and we just saw people graffitiing the sidewalk right in front of this truck, and we've seen people doing burnouts in the street. There's no local law enforcement around.
Let us clarify, because we've been showing
bio shields that are being handed out. Mob True Crime says, have you noticed that anytime inner cities have rioting, that the bookstores get looted?
Yeah, that has absolutely no value to these people. They don't even know how to read it. They don't even know how to read them.
Reading is a conspiracy theory, so I mean, don't be a conspiracy theorist out there. Okay,
so here's the picture of the guy in the truck that was handing out the bionic shields. So people.
I thought they were I thought they were still concerned about the bat disease, but apparently it's for tear gas. And
so here's we got to show this being on the California network so people can track this guy down, see who it is, the face of this guy here. So here's his face. Who is this guy? And he even got his license plate. It's a little bit slow, but it's coming. Here comes the license plate. Come on. There we go. The license plate number of the vehicle is EB19N10. And some people said it was like an out-of-state plate, but then there was temporary tags from California on it through the California DMV. They said that as well. So people need to be on the lookout for this and identify who that is. I'm sure law enforcement will do a search on that plate to find out who this is. But this guy's handing out giant, boxes of these big brown boxes.
Somebody's paying for it. He's just a philanthropist, right. I guess, right?
Yeah. And these are just plastic face shields. They're not sealed. They're not gas masks. So it can shield your face from whatever projectiles and different things to some level, help you see more clearly through the smoke a little bit. So
you can go about looting better.
Yeah, but there's not like any kind of significant protection from that. It's just like kind of a fancy, plastic face shield that has the adjusters that you can screw that will fit very snugly on your head. So it's nice for people to use, like myself, engineers, that if you're cutting wood or metal or something like that, to give your face and your eyes some additional protection and give you the freedom to work about, but that's not going to protect you from gas. There's no seal or something like that there.
It's not form fitted to your face, so I guess it won't help with the bat disease, sadly enough. We thought he was a public health hero, and turns out that he's actually not. This report, I guess we got to mention now to comply with Brian Stelter and CNN. This report is how many days old? It was when it first kicked off, June 7th. And so this report is, they say it's from Laura Powell. She's a lawyer here in California. And she says that over the past 2 days, ICE agents have conducted targeted operations across LA, and says who's funding this whole thing? Well, it turns out that taxpayer-funded nonprofit is behind the anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles, the Coalition for Human for Humane Immigrant Rights. Chirla is how you say it. CHIRLA, Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights. They're main funders of it and taxpayer funded. And so isn't wonderful? We're funding both sides of, we're paying for the cops, for the National Guard, the Marines, and we're also funding the other side, the nonprofit provocateurs and professional agitators. And so we do appreciate just trying to live our lives over here and not drowned in taxation. But how if they pass the Technocracy bill, the big beautiful bill, your kid will have $1,000 that'll be worth nothing, but it won't really matter because they'll be smashed up in a riot. I don't know. It's wild, man. Why don't they go arrest all the executives of the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights? I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it's interesting, the similarity here. Let's go. I'll put that up again here. Brought it down by accident. Someone just posted there. Of course, Alex Soros was just meeting with Gruesome Newsom again very recently. And of course, Soros,
I saw people posting that, and they're like, Soros is funding Newsom. I'm like, yeah, he gets some money from there, but the real funding of him is from the Getty family. Everybody should know that. He's essentially a Getty, like one of the richest families in the world.
Yeah, and of course, Soros is notoriously infamous for running color revolutions all across the world. In many different countries, and he's wanted by the Myanmar government for arrest. They've arrested a number of his people.
Here's their site, and they're famous, the raised fist with the wrench. I don't think I've seen the wrench yet, but worker abuse there, and so they're famous communist raised fist there. So here's one of the main groups behind it, allegedly.
They've got numbers for you to call if you want to find out, what they're doing in the riots and how they're supporting them and who to talk to on the ground, etc. So welcome to everybody to call and find out how you can, quote unquote, help support the grassroots movement down there on the streets, and who are their coordinators and people that you should meet up with there, and bring your friends and everything else. So you can call in and talk to them about that. But of course, Alex Soros has taken over now that Papa Soros is gone. And here's a picture of Papa Soros beside Zelensky.
He's not gone yet. He didn't die, did he? No. He's
given the reins over to Alex Soros, his son, right? And it was Alex Soros.
And then he's married Huma Abedin.
Right.
Famous for having affairs with Hillary. And so what if Hillary tries to go after him? Wouldn't that be a scandal?
Yeah, very doubtful. But so let's
they're
show
all having baby blood drinking satanic ritual ceremonies anyway, right? So
let's show this picture here of Soros and Zelensky side by side. It is quite interesting because we do see
I remember you sent me that.
It's one happy family. Let me zoom in on that here.
Maybe his illegitimate son. Who knows? These freaks.
Certainly look like a relation, a relative, something at the very least.
Are they both reptiles?
Zelensky seems to be a fake name. I'm not sure, but of course, that's what they're endlessly famous for. So I just found that interesting because it is really an uncanny resemblance, no doubt. And it's always the puppet actors, and who better to put into this when Soros was so actively involved in Ukraine? Who better to put in than one of his relatives, right? Of course, that's
they're running positive eugenics programs for their elite bloodlines, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. You know what I mean? Okay, let's move on. We got to blast through these clips, and then we'll get to the big protest. I think I saw the No Kings talk about arrest all these people. We'll get there though. Here's Ice Barbie, and maybe these are the reality TV shows, but I don't see illegal aliens fighting for citizenship just yet. Maybe this is a prelude too. But here's Ice Barbie, gnome dog killer. saying they're a city of criminals. It's hard to argue with her, but
is endorsing these kind of activities has allowed her city to be completely devastated with crime, and now she's holding press conferences talking about the fact that people have the right to peacefully protest and that they're a city of immigrants. Well, they're not a city of immigrants, they're a city of criminals, because she has protected them for so many years. And so we're coming in and doing what the president has said that he's going to do, and he's going to allow people to live in a safe community again, and we're going to use the authority that he has as president of the United States to conduct these operations. And the more that people conduct violence against law enforcement officers, boy, we're going to hit them back, and we're going to hit them back.
Continuing here, here's drone footage of the LA riots. This is not calm. This is not peaceful. This is released by Department of Homeland Security. I wouldn't be surprised if Palantir is running these drones, but let's take a look at this. Imagine if they're already showing you with the target on there, and so they just have to, these drones may be weaponized already. They just got to push a button. Prelude to
that burning is good for climate change. I mean, that's good CO2. That's good for the
good
world.
for the environment.
Yeah, it needs to be supported, right? Just like flying the jets, all of the jets to the climate meetings, right? Endlessly. That's good too. That's good CO2.
It's a prelude to your termination from Palantir-run DHS.
Don't you dare fund Alpha Omega Energy. You got to support the Greta going to Israel to get deported. You got to support that.
Let's hear Maxine Waters. She's a congresswoman out of LA that doesn't even live in her district, but that never stopped people in that district from voting for her. And of course, the elections are 100% legit.
And even those who were
wow, that's really low.
With what we are advocating, peace.
That audio was really low. Sorry about that. I thought I was better. Okay, here's Trump, and then we'll get into this segue, because this coming weekend is going to be the Army's 250th celebration of its anniversary in Washington, D.C., and full militarization of D.C. Let's hear what Trump had to say, and then we're going to get into, wow, it's wild. No kings.
And we're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force.
Well, you should have heard about it, Trump, because you got drones and every other spy device known to man here, and probably some we don't even know about. But the No Kings are, they're doing a big protest all across the country. Here they are. In America, we don't have kings. Well, where were you guys the last 50 years? But apparently now the orange man we got to go after. They've defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets, attacked our civil rights, and slashed our services. The corruption has gone too far. No thrones, no crowns, no kings. Where were you guys on June 14th? We rise up, find
and who's behind it is the most important.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. But here's potential riot spots, protest spots all across the country. You could see.
Dude, that's not coordinated. Already pre-chosen.
Right. Well, there's the map. Upcoming calls, trainings, it's all public. And so you could shut it all right down and go arrest these organizers. Spread the word. No Kings protest on June 4th, 14th.
This guy. Hey, thanks, Jack Dorsey.
That's Trump's birthday, too, by the way, coincidentally, and Flag Day. And
the flag doesn't belong to President Trump. It belongs to us, so let's burn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. And so you say, who is organizing all this? Well, here they are, the partners. And so you're not anti-establishment because this is the establishment. ACLU, Teachers Union out of Albuquerque. And you can go down the list. There's some big ones. Bernie, of course, left-wing populist at one time. Now he's just sold-out hack. He always was, but his true colors. Look, Aardvark Action Network there. Catholics, but there's some big ones here. Where's the big ones that I saw? These guys right here. These are the big ones. These are the guys instrumental in pushing all the DEI and all this woke nonsense that they got a lot of corporate America to go along with. We've covered it here on Weaponized News. The Human Rights Campaign. These guys are big subversion organization right here. But it goes on and on.
And a lot of these are NGOs, right? International NGOs, and they call this the funding of this. They call it capacity building, and they call it development. So in the government, State Department, NGO industry, when they say the words development, what that really means is the building of front organizations. And all of these are front organizations. These are intelligence agency, front organizations, color revolution organizations, so that they can control what's happening politically and mentally. Hang on a second. They can control it from the outside without it being directly funded through the State Department, which would be illegal. And then they use back channels to control these people and say what they want to do, so that these people will all act in coordination on their command when exactly they want them to do it. And that's why you see all of this all go at once everywhere, just like you saw, right? Fraudvid all at once, coordinated across.
Lockstep.
Right. Very clearly, all these NGOs and so-called development institutions and organizations around the world, they're not doing real development, what we are frauded to think of as development. Funding the startups, making startup funds, funding small businesses, financing small businesses, giving grants to small businesses. They don't do any of that. It doesn't even exist. In 80 years, the United Nations and all of their organizations has never even made so much as one startup fund or even funded one startup, let alone what their entire focus should be.
They're helping develop the third world. We care about the poor. All these Democrats care about the poor. Progressive Democrats of America, and this one, Thomas, the Sierra Club, even they're in it.
Yeah, and they ignore me completely. They ignore all of the breakthrough energy innovators. Of course, I've gone after all of these climate orgs, over 450
Greenpeace
NGOs I've solicited, over 600 climate orgs I've solicited. I went after Greenpeace hardcore as well before. Some of the things that they do with their work to save the whales against the Japanese whaling and whatnot. I admire that part of it still, but it's just a joke. I mean, they've all been completely subverted. And look, it's Ben the Ark, Aardvark Action right there. Them in the center, right there that you just showed. And let's bring up this guy here, this organization. This guy here, this is another one that's funding heavily into the riots, the higher riots. It's called the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And it's a self-proclaimed proud Marxist-Leninist, which both of those are aardvarks, of course, and communism is aardvark commissarism. That's what it is. It's aardvark Bolshevik communism, which was run in Russia, and they took over the government in Russia, and then massacred the 60 million Christians, killed the Tsar of Russia there. And it's run by this guy, Neville Singham. He's an old school communist who made billions off of spreading Chinese propaganda worldwide. So he's another Soros type operative that gets paid to do this, right, from the Bolsheviks, the Rockefellers, and so on. The same people that propped up Mao in China and the CCP, which of course communism, CCP communism is not a Chinese institution. It has nothing to do with Chinese history or political history. But there was a civil war going on, infighting at the time, and the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Kissingers, and so on came in, funded Mao to take over and fight against the actual democratic republic and Republicans. And I want to show this website for that party because it's quite
Denver. I guess the best we can do. I added that part. This is what a post-industrial service-based economy looks like. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah, you should. We should definitely value all our rights, especially and China. Actually, we reported on that yesterday. Warned Chinese here to if you're in the LA area to take care of your personal safety. And so everyone, whatever your nationality, everybody on this dirt in that area, take care of your personal safety, because who knows if it's cops, Marines, freaking rioters, who knows? It's getting crazy, man, and it doesn't look like they're stopping.
So let's look at this here, Party for Socialism and Communism, what they actually are about. They say for the planet and to live, for the planet to live, capitalism must end. So they're demanding aardvark Bolshevik communism. That's what it is. This is not some leftist movement in America. This is the aardvark movement to hijack America and force communism, right? Which is a Bolshevik aardvark institution. So this is what they're doing, and they have our party. Our party is growing. So Elon Musk wants a third political party. Is this the one that he's going to be promoting soon?
No, his third political party is Technocracy, Thomas.
Well, I don't think there's any difference at all between aardvark Bolshevik communism and Technocracy. It's exactly the same thing, right? You have these elites at the top, and that's it. And they decide absolutely everything, right? So you can get involved.
Scientific dictatorship, yeah.
If people want to do a little bit of sleuthing, you can get involved.
But the Soviet Union already did this experiment for what, like 70, 80 years, and it totally failed. So, I mean, we've already done this. We have to do it again.
I don't know if it, quote unquote, failed. They succeeded in conquering Russia and then genociding 60 million Christians. So in their view, they were very happy about that. And then they successfully hid it out of history to this very day.
Well, maybe in their view, but I'm saying for Joe Blow, the people, it failed. That is supposedly lifting up out of the oppression of capitalism. It failed in that regard. But as far as meeting the aims of the elite and the inner circle, of course, the depopulation was a great success.
Well, certainly it succeeded to such a level that even your new savior on the new narrative media, Naomi Wolf, won't even mention it ever once in her life.
I like Naomi Wolf still. I don't care. Okay. We covered all of that. So yeah, coming up Sunday, right? Sunday.
You might be able to drive to her house over there in San Francisco. She might still live there, right? Her mother, the mother of the feminazi movement. You can go and interview her all about it. How about that?
This Saturday, so you can go there. It's called, for all you hooligans in the Weaponized News audience, nokings.org, and you can find the protest in your area. They have a nice little map there. Pick your subversive organization, and you can say how you're for social justice. Put the fist up. How we do.
No Kings. What does that remind me of? Oh, that reminds me of when the aardvark Bolsheviks murdered the Tsar, right, of Russia.
Could be. It could be. And I don't think we have a king here. We still have somewhat checks and balances, no matter how corrupt the government is. What about Congress? Forget about Trump. Where is Congress on all? Congress is not doing their part one little bit.
They're all busy.
Hold all three branches of government the same accountable. Trump is not a king, but you got the court and you got Congress. What are they doing? Not jack. You know what I mean? So
they're all busy, getting the parties from the big beautiful bill. They're getting their rewards right now. It's rewards week from all of their bought off lobbyists that they appeased with the.
They're literally protesting the 250th anniversary of the Army here. I don't see this working out well for them, but find your protest here at nokings.org, of course.
Imagine how much time it took to put that map together of all of those locations.
Oh, they got a lot of taxpayer funding
that went in there. A lot of front orgs, for every location. And that's what they do. They practice at home. Then they run it overseas, right? And then they run this overseas in all these other countries, overthrow all these other countries, and then lie that they're for democracy. And that's what they push into all these other countries, the same crap that you see.
For
democracy. And we're seeing this in Cambodia right now.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to
They're doing it from Vietnam. They're doing it from Thailand.
Liberal Western democracy is the only way to live, Thomas. We're going to get to Putin
Aardvark commonocracy.
Addressing this issue. Okay, so what happened quickly on public health? How long are they? We had Dr. Oz. Screw Dr. Oz. There is Jim O'Neill was sworn in today as Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services. So this is basically Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s underling, as he fired the whole CDC Miracle Board yesterday, so that may be some progress, but who cares? It looks like everything's streamlining in the name of efficiency, AI, technocracy, and we're removing humans. They're all corrupt anyway, so it's going to be more efficient machine against you. But here's the new Deputy Jim O'Neill being sworn in there at HHS by Bobby Kennedy Jr. I thought that was significant. And then let's hear from 30-second clip here from NIH Bhattacharya, however you say his name, at a Senate hearing. I believe this was today for CNN and Brian Stelter.
I applaud the NIH's efforts to advance science during a difficult time. However, I take seriously the concerns of the public and recognize the need for reform at the NIH. So, to restore our reputation among the American people and address the chronic disease crisis, we can't return to business as usual. I join President and Secretary Kennedy in their commitment in advancing 21st century research at the NIH. We will build on the agency's record of solving complex challenges and invest resources where they're needed by prioritizing the health needs of the American people, and I mean every single.
There we go. That's all we got on public health today, as we don't want to run afoul of the old YouTube. We just barely got back in good with them. Here, we mentioned this yesterday, Mad Crab did, but let's hear now from comedian Tim Dillon. Says Palantir is probably buying people and reveals he's been invited to Peter Thiel's house multiple times. Have you been invited to Peter Thiel's house ever, Thomas?
No, I reached out to the Thiel Fellowship. I reached out to 3 of the organizations he's involved with around startups, whatnot, but I guess I'm not gay or aardvark enough for them because I never got a response from any of them.
Let's hear from Tim Dillon, or not satanic enough for him, maybe.
If you have not one reservation about what's going on over there, I'm not saying you have to feel one way or another way, but if you don't have any if you have no reservations about what's happening with all these kids getting killed, I don't know, I can't trust you. If you don't have any reservations about Palantir taking everyone's information, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I think they're buying people left and right. This is my guess. They try to buy me. My pussy costs a lot of money. I get invited to these dinners. I don't go. I've been invited to Teal's house multiple times for dinner. I don't go. It's no shade at them or whatever, you know? The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media. I go, what? No, thanks. We'd like to discuss dinner. We discuss the media and culture. No, thanks. Appreciate it. That's fine. Don't need a. Here's what I'm doing every week. I'm discussing the media. Hey, good news. I have a show. You can listen to it. You can listen to it if you're curious about. But I've been to some of these places. I've sat in these houses in Austin with these tech people, and I know what they want, and I know what they want me to go out and cheerlead for and say, well, it's actually a great idea, and there's probably a lot of money in it.
See, the brain chip and technocracy are good. Tim Dillon just doesn't know. Segue too. I think I'll just report on this on every show until someone cares. No one ever will care, apparently. But again, no one else has reported on this but me at Weaponized News. Palantir website, palantir.com, partners, PG&E, Southern California Edison. Kind of a big deal. Fourth largest economy in the world, California. And Palantir, i.e. intelligence agency CIA, are running our power grid in this state. Concerning? What say you, Thomas? I shouldn't be concerned about this.
Go back to that 1 second, because there's even more.
There's a lot more. There's a lot more, but very concerning. I haven't seen breaking old news for CNN, but no one else has even reported on this except for me, because I went to their website. I'm like, what's Palantir all about, really? Well, I go to their website and see this, and like, whoa. The two major power providers in California are running Foundry, Palantir operating system. So the intelligence agencies are running our power grid here in California.
Right, and then you have Palantir running as well. Sonadix has enabled 100% remote monitoring of solar farms. So they just had this massive news story coming out that China supposedly can, they've got backdoors into all of this hardware and can shut down the power grid. But guess who else has 100% remote access of all of the solar farms? Well, if it isn't Palantir. So then they shut it down, and then they conveniently blame China. Hey, it came from Wuhan. It came from China, once again, it didn't come from the CIA. It didn't come from Palantir. No. It didn't come from the Rockefeller CIA. No. You see that? So it is absolutely huge. So I'm glad I caught that. Thank you, God, for putting that in front of my eyes, and thank you, Sam Chaney, for being the only.
Dude, go to Palantir website. It's all right there. They brag about it. It's in your face. Technocracy, scientific dictatorship. It's all there. Nobody even goes to Palantir website. You know what I mean? Go there. Look, there's so much we could dig into there, but that just really caught my eye with the whole PG&E thing. The remove the smart meters, that segues me to, again, a big solution you can do is remove your smart meter. I'll just keep banging on that, because that's one thing an individual can do, because they say you can't do anything. They want to demoralize us to the point, you know what I mean, and blackpill us and all this. But one thing you can do, take that smart meter off of wherever you are, your business, your home, especially your home. Take that smart meter off and make them come read your meter. And that will at least do your little part to fight back against Palantir scientific dictatorship technocracy here, as what little we can do.
And also, Neville Singham, who runs that communist organization, he is married to, get this, the founder of Code Pink, right? Who is organizing all of the protests against the Tesla dealerships, burning them all down. That guy is literally married to the Code Pink.
I don't think Code Pink wasn't doing that. Were they?
Yeah, they got caught helping to organize this. They're at all of these different locations. So Elon Musk He mentioned something about Code Pink as well. I'll pull that up for next time, because I'm sure it's not going to stop in just 1 week, something like this. When they coordinate something this big, it's not just going to vanish in 1 week. This will be going for a while.
Okay, let's move on to our geopolitical news here. The Bilderberg Group meeting is this week. They have not updated their website, and so the global elite, cabal is they're lagging on their IT work over here. Maybe they're waiting for AI to do it. I don't know. They haven't updated their website, but here is their official website. But they haven't updated for the 2025 meeting, Bilderberg Group meeting, bilderbergmeetings.org, the official website. It is indeed. And they talk about last year's meeting here, 24, but we don't have this year's meeting. But out of the Sweden Herald, no mystery behind the booking of the entire Grand Hotel in Stockholm. There has been much speculation about who booked the entire Grand Hotel in Stockholm from June 10th to the 14th, but it turns out that the Bilderberg Group is behind the reservation. And so that's where your meeting is going to be starting today, Tuesday, and running through Saturday. Maybe they'll take time out of that and protest Trump's celebration of his birthday, Flag Day, and the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. But there's not much other details about it, so they're quasi-public with a website. But like I said, they haven't updated it, and so we're still looking. I'm looking for more details about it. Last couple of years, they've been putting out a attendee list. And so you can go through there and see all your favorite elite Satan scumbags that are committing treason against your sovereign countries, politicians and the like, all meeting up here at the Bilderberg Group, which they denied, of course, for 50, 60 years or something, that it even existed, and said you're crazy. And then it's been exposed slowly throughout the years. And a big part of it was Alex Jones and Jim Tucker. So let's give them credit for that, and many others as well, going to the meetings.
And hosted by this year, guess who? Another Berg, Zuckerberg, Wallenberg, the Wallenbergs, the famous Wallenbergs in Sweden, who behind the massive data scandal, and of course in Sweden there is the home of the intelligence agencies, the CIA's main forward European spying apparatus and agency, and Dragnet spiderweb outside of Frankfurt, Germany. Those two are the two famous locations.
This speaks to the idiot idea there is no global conspiracy for one world government. In the Swedish Herald article, they say the group's original goal at its founding in 1954 was to promote dialogue between Europe and North America, strengthening relationships and prevent a new world war. I thought that was the reason for the UN, but okay. Today, the agenda is to strengthen Western free market capitalism and interests in the world. This is the part it tells you this is the conspiracy. The participants are a mix of politicians, corporate leaders, bankers, military personnel, and media profiles. And so 2/3 are from Europe and 1/3 from North America. The Chatham House rule is applied. Participants are not allowed to use the information, but not reveal who said what. This is to encourage more free and open discussions. So, I mean, that is the conspiracy right there. Politicians, corporate leaders, bankers, military personnel, and media. That's your one world government, new world order conspiracy there.
And you got here, one of our commenters here, tagged Mob True Crime, says, quote, "Let's make sure lots of Muslims show up to Bilderberg this year." Well, isn't that interesting that they've never shown up to a Bilderberg meeting ever? And at the same time, now you have supposedly Al-Qaeda calling for the assassination of Trump, and the supposed white conservatives, right? Though, of course, Vance is an aardvark bloodline, a very elite bloodline. They're calling for the assassination of Americans at the same time they're running the Bilderberg meeting, right at the same time that comes out.
Strange
And
coincidence.
please play this video I just sent you in X DM, showing one of the famous Bilderberg members there, Scary John Kerry, who is in the the Skull and Bones Club. And I didn't know this before. First time I've ever seen this, first time I've ever heard of it. Very interesting. And once again, who knew that Scary John Kerry was yet another aardvark elite bloodline? So that we got a video exposing this. So if you have that up, that'll be great. Be great to play.
John Kerry's family were Jews in the Habsburg Empire in Czechoslovakia, and they were Hohenjude, house Jews. So they were very, very high in the court, and they advised the kings. Teresa Heinz Kerry is from a Portuguese Hohenjude family, and her family advised the Portuguese court. And then I found a painting of John Kerry's ancestor on his mother's side. She was a Forbes, not Malcolm Forbes.
Of the Opium family Forbes.
The Opium family.
The Yale
yes.
Forbes.
John Kerry looks exactly like him. So these are ancient bloodlines that they keep. They know how to breed, who to breed into the line, and how to keep the physical characteristics. And then I realized they have very, very strict breeding. And for instance, with the royal families, the popes had to always give permission for two members of a royal family to marry. For instance, especially if they were on the throne. And there could be no relatives or family association for 7 generations.
There you go. Positive eugenics for them, negative eugenics for you.
And of course, John Kerry is the climate czar for America, pushing all of this pro-communist, Bolshevik communist policy, demanding it and demanding the end of quote-unquote capitalism, which we don't even have. We just have neo-feudalism. So demanding the end of the free market, demanding this top-down technocracy of aardvarks deciding absolutely everything, and they'll be the elite class or the ruling class, and you'll all be the slaves, and you'll own nothing, and they will have everything, and you'll be happy. Or else you'll be put in a maid pod. And here we have, of course, Chrystia Freeland up there in the commissarist dominion of Canada, coming out into Parliament now, saying that you shall not have a actual foundation-based home. You will only have, and we will only build modular homes now. So container homes. You will live in containers, right? And hey,
making your termination more efficient that way.
Right, and they will own the land. The government will own the land. You live in containers. You don't need to buy the land anymore. So hey, we're promoting a low-cost home ownership. You don't need to look, and we can just move you off whenever we feel like it. Of course, you don't own the land, and it's just a container. So it really amazing clip there from Parliament. I'll pull that up, and we can show that before we finish.
Okay, on to the big report. Shout out to Simon. He shared this. I know he's been banging on about it. It is a rather significant development, geopolitically speaking, as we move into the new world order, shifting to a multipolar world. Let me just read the whole thing here. This is out of Russia, the Minsk Security Conference on Eurasian Security. Yesterday and today, at the invitation of the Foreign Minister of Affairs, the Russian Federation, Lavrov, cover him a lot, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Belarus will pay a first official visit to Moscow. Special attention will be paid to the formation of the Great Eurasian Partnership, #BEP, to go find more information about that, as well as the new architecture of unified and indivisible security on the continent, including in the context of the preparation of the third Minsk Conference of Eurasian Security. It is planned to sign a joint appeal to the ministers of foreign affairs of the Eurasian states on the topic of promoting the Eurasian Charter of Diversity and Multipolarity in the 21st century, a dialogue on the topic of diplomatic support of integration processes in the Union State. And you see all these acronyms, all the different organizations there, and BRICS also is expected. The parties will check the clock on coordination in the UN and other international platforms, development of interaction with constructive states of the global South and East, as well as building relations with unfriendly countries and associations. The ministers will exchange views on the issues of resolving the crisis around Ukraine, including in the context of the ongoing Russian-Ukraine peace negotiations. Belarus is Russia's closest ally and strategic partner. I'd add, you could argue it's also a satellite proxy state of Russia, essentially, obviously part of the former Soviet Union. Our countries are connected by long-standing traditions of friendship and mutual assistance, culture and spiritual commonality, common historical past, and prospects for the future. Foreign policy cooperation between Russia and Belarus is systemic. Both countries speak from a common or close position on almost all international problems. It's basically the same country, but the big, and you could see Simon translated it from Russian to English for us here from the official Russian Post. But the big takeaway is they're openly talking about the Greater Eurasian Partnership there. And so that's going on there at that security conference in Minsk today and yesterday.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, the Canadian government is now campaigning for sanctions. Some of them, anyway, the official Canadian government campaigning for sanctions against some of the Israel political leaders for their genocide there against the Palestinians. So very strange flip-flops of what's going on there in the Canadian government. I mean, one second they're all for it, the next second they're condemning it, the next second they're promoting literal Nazis up on stage and standing ovations, and then they're back to criticizing the genocide, but then they don't dare criticize, right, the religion behind it, or the book, or any of that kind of stuff. So here's your video I sent to you there on X in a DM of Chrystia Freeland campaigning for the new low-cost housing.
Policies the Prime Minister campaigned on was building modular housing. That is a way to get more homes built faster, and we know that by removing barriers to internal trade in our country, we can get a modular housing industry going in our country. Exactly. That is one of the solutions to the housing crisis. I hope the members opposite will be constructive and support this important legislation.
Mr. Speaker, my generation refuses to live in a shipping container.
That guy, what the hell is that guy's problem? She's helping, Thomas. She's helping the unhoused.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a shipping container advertising sponsor on Weaponized News soon, advertising low-cost homes in Bolshevik Commissarfornia.
You can pay for your home and your coffin at the same time. Very
right, and you don't need to pay for the land because it's going to be owned by Reid Hoffman.
By the state.
Or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay. Continuing on the thread of Russia, Belarus, it's inhumane. Belarus foreign minister was outraged over Ukraine's refusal to reclaim the bodies of 6,000 soldiers that the Russians tried to send back to them after they were killed on the battlefield. They may not want to pay families their compensations or admit there were 6,000, But this goes against the Orthodox tradition. That's how it's always been done. How come now they don't want to take back the bodies? This is a point of contention as Russia is and Ukraine are exchanging prisoners of war. A second group of Russian POWs has been returned by Ukraine in exchange for Ukrainian POWs returned by Russia. So to me, that seems like trying to do some kind of diplomatic thing, but they're still bombing each other and killing each other at the same time while they're doing this. The Russian servicemen are currently in Belarus receiving psychological and medical aid that have been returned from the prisoner of war camps there in Ukraine that were captured. And then now let's hear from Putin, as I talked about earlier, talking about liberal Western democracy is not going to take over Russia. He says Putin lays out Russia's civilization doctrine. Traditional moral values are now at the foundry of our identity. It's he's saying it in Russian. Of course, he's for YouTube. He's the most evil man in the world. But let's hear what. He says no rainbow flags, no foreign scripts, just Russia. Pure hate.
No, that's anti-Semitic.
Well, it's hateful at the very least.
No rainbow flags. No, that
in this pride
serious anti-Semitism right there.
Here's it's in Russian, but we do have subtitles. So let's hear from Russian from Putin pushing back against alleged Western liberal democracy.
The traditional moral values were created throughout ages and are now at the foundation of our identity. They serve as the basis for a sovereign worldview, a sovereign culture that resists any attempt to impose an external will on us. The unity of the peoples of Russia, the adherence to the values of humanity and kindness, the ability to achieve success for the entire country and not just individually, patriotism and loyalty. It is these things that inspired our ancestors to achieve the great feats which we remember them for. And now we are developing our education system and to enable it to raise our people to be loyal citizens who know the history of their country and who are able to make a contribution to the futures of their country and to take responsibility.
So pure hate there by Putin.
Well, we got a new strategy to promote peace. I sent you a video in your DM. We've got to get this one in. They got a new strategy to promote peace in the higher riots to solve the problem is to spray them all with methylene blue. This is, I guess, they're disinfecting them and making sure that all of their ills are healed. They must have taken some advice from Mike Adams, who's endlessly parading every single CIA PSYOP possible to cover up, as Alex Jones has been recently as well, interestingly enough. We can show the video of them spraying the crowds with methylene blue.
There's some of that blue.
Did they buy it from the Alex Jones store? Let's
spray pro-democracy activists surrounded a government building. Police then fired tear gas and blasted them with blue water, the tinted liquid making it easier to later identify and potentially arrest protesters.
So they're spraying cancer-causing, carcinogenic blue dye on all of these people. What a way to get back at them. But according to Alex Jones, it's going to heal all of their ills. And what better, Alex says that it hypes people up like nothing else, gives you energy and hypes you up and makes you all aggressive. What a better thing to spray onto crowds of rioting protesters than something that's going to hype them up even more. I mean, I could not.
Anything for public health, Thomas. So last night, Russia launched a massive overnight attack on Ukraine using with precision weapons and drones. So it continues on there, the Russia-Ukraine war. It doesn't look like we're getting any closer to peace, even with the exchange of prisoners of war, which you would think was a very diplomatic thing to do. But who knows what's going on there? No peace, that's for sure. Reminder, under the Trump administration, America has launched 32 airstrikes here now in Somalia. So we're literally bombing the hell out of Somalia. I guess they're the radical jihadists over there, ISIS, that we have to kill continually after we arm them, fund them, train them, radicalize them. Then we have to have an excuse to go bomb the hell out of dirt-ass, poor-ass Somalia. 32 strikes in Somalia under the Trump administration, the peacenik that he is, that he campaigned on. Okay, it's back and forth. Are we going to bomb? Are we going to bomb Iran? Are we going to back up Aardvark's bombing of Iran? Here is U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Michael Eric Kurula. He told the House Arms Service Committee that he has provided Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, and President Trump with a wide range of options, including overwhelming force should diplomatic efforts fail to stop Iran's nuclear program. They're going to have nukes in 2 weeks, we've been told, for the last 25 years. Something must be done about it. Let's watch this short clip.
If the president directed, is CENTCOM prepared to respond with overwhelming force to prevent a nuclear-armed Iran?
I have provided the Secretary of Defense and the President a wide range of options.
I take that as a yes.
Yes.
Mob true crime wants to hit him with a gay spray. We have covered that before, where theoretically Dick Cheney and the Pentagon had said that they had a gay bomb where they would launch a bomb that would set off pheromones, hormones, all this kind of stuff, and somehow turn the troops that they were fighting against, maybe even our troops, gay. And so that is an idea. That is an idea that's been out there.
Yeah, and someone said here as well, AJ, Alex Jones, admitted it. What did he admit? He admitted, right, to being CIA and his father being entrenched CIA family. And then also he admitted to being an aardvark and screamed at his viewers that he was one. And then, of course, he was brought up and orchestrated and trained through the Rockefeller, right, aardvark, CIA, Esalen Institute out of Big Sur with Joe Rogan, as exposed in the vast and amazing documentary by Matthew North, who was then assassinated 2 weeks after he produced that work there. So just to clarify the connection as well. And of course, behind Alex Jones there are these media booking agents, which are aardvark German families, which admitted as well and bragged about taking over literally the Freemason organization in Germany and the UK, and then our paperclip people. And those people are behind AJ as well. And as shown on AJ's show multiple times, he's talking to them and or just got off the phone with them as recorded on his show and talking to the crew about it. And the crew knows these people as well.
You're breaking my heart here. Okay, let's move on to, well, part of that same story. Are we going to bomb Iran? Well, with a security agreement between Russia and Iran, we'd essentially be bombing Russia. Russia moving ahead with building new nuclear reactor in Iran. Here's video of it. And so, yeah.
دیوارهایش و تبدیل شدن به یک گنبد است. گنبد و تاجی خاص در بوشهر، دومین نیروگاه هسته‌ای ایران. در چند روزی که گذشت در گام ویژه‌ای از مسیر ساخت نیروگاه دوم هسته‌ای در بوشهر بخش‌هایی از سازه گنبدی جاگذاری شد. حفاظ حرارتی تله مذاب و نگهدارنده پایینی چاهک راکتور هم نصب شدند تا کار ساخت گام به گام به پیش رفته باشد. نیروگاه سوم نیز در مسیر ساخت است و به گفته مجری واحدهای دوم و سوم منابع مالی ساخت واحدها در حال تأمین و تزریق است. محمد هادی حاجی زاده، خبرگزاری صدا و سیما.
Russia is building the nuclear reactors there in Iran. Can we trust them after Chernobyl? I don't know if I would trust a nuclear reactor from Russia. I guess they're not the Soviet Union anymore. They reformed, but Putin's bad. Don't forget that. Okay, part of that. One of the headlines. This is very telling here now, Thomas. We're going against our Five Eyes partners here. Let me put this on the screen. Little Marco Rubio, Secretary of State. He says the United States condemns the sanctions imposed by the governments of the United Kingdom, Canada, Norway, New Zealand, and Australia on two sitting members of the Aardvark cabinet. These sanctions do not advance U.S.-led efforts to achieve a ceasefire, bring all hostages home, and end the war. We reject any notion or equivalence. Hamas is a terrorist organization that committed unspeakable atrocities, continues to hold innocent civilian hostages, and prevent the people of Gaza from living in peace. We remind our partners not to forget who the real enemy is. The United States urges the reversal of the sanctions and stands shoulder to shoulder with Aardvark land. And there's I don't know why little Marco would have that opinion. I thought he was a Cuban, but turns out he did receive over $1 million from Aardvark interest here. And of course, this is old CNN. This is as of 10/4/2024. So I'm sure he's received a lot more money since then. This is just what's on the public record there. And so who knows why he would have this opinion. But who are the Five Eyes? Well, that's this whole rigged up game that they play in the West and act like we have some type of privacy and they care about our civil rights and natural rights. The Five Eyes is an intelligence alliance comprising Australia, Canada, New Zealand, UK, and America, established for extensive cooperation in signals intelligence, the Five Eyes Alliance. And so, of course, America has UK spy on American citizens and then just give them the intelligence and say, we didn't violate your rights. And then UK has US spy on English. And so UK said MI6 or whatever they are, the intelligence agency, they say, well, we didn't spy on you, it was America. And they play this stupid game back and forth and trade intelligence. And that's how they spy on everybody with the Five Eyes here now. And they all throw their hands up. Well, we didn't violate your rights. It was that other guy. Well, you're all part of the same coalition of spying on everybody. So it's just complete and utter nonsense. So this is a major significant break from the Five Eyes for the Aardvark land here. Thomas, what do you think about this coming out of little Marco, the State Department Secretary of State?
Yeah, and the money that's going into this is just outrageous. It's unprecedented. And they talk about, right, where's the $3.2 trillion that went missing? This is where it goes, is into all of this garbage, this clandestine bullshit in all over the world. And then all of these, right, NGOs, so over 70,000 NGOs, and not a single startup fund amongst any of them anywhere. So
it was never about how trying to develop anything, but more dossiers on their own citizens here.
Right. And anything that they do fund that is involving startup is just, it's another spy agency to suck in all of the technology that's made in these countries into your hubs, right? Invite all these people into there, which I got invited to one again recently, encouraged by a consultant to go into one of these hubs. And then they demand access to absolutely everything, open sourcing to everything. Why it's not open sourcing, and there's no funding or anything anyway. They've never funded anyone, so it's just a total waste of time. They're trying to get access to the technology, the business models, etc., and then they feed all of this back from everywhere across the world. and fake that they're doing something good for the people under fancy looking brochures and events, and just use everybody. And there's trillions of dollars going into this. And people wonder, like, there's $100 billion a year going into Vietnam right now, and nobody has any clue where the hell the money's going. There's no aircraft carriers being built there. There's no airplanes being built there. There's no tanks, bombs, guns being built in there. Where the hell is the $100 billion a year of military spending going that's going into Vietnam right now? It's absolutely insane what's happening. And it's all bribery, color revolution stuff, money laundering. All of that money is going back to somebody. And all of these different operatives through everywhere across all of these countries, clandestine operations. I mean, if you turned all of this off, you could imagine the amount of peace in the world and stability of these countries. Everybody would just literally just live in peace and be building and going to work and developing instead of all of this bullshit.
And really going to Mars or off the planet. But thankfully we have the 5 eyes to spy on everybody, and so they're keeping us safe from ourselves. Okay, on to, we're already past we're at the 2 hour and 20 minute mark. So we got the last section of the show here. Aardvark land genocide continues. Aardvark military recovers bodies of 2 hostages taken on October 7th. And again, they have already said they don't care. It was never about the hostages. But then they talk about the other side of their mouth. Oh, just give us back the hostages. That's all we want. It was never about that. It never is about the official cover story. But anyway, in the interest of fairness, the failing New York Times has reported that these 2 bodies have been recovered. So we do appreciate that. And of course, they owed their allegiance to Mexico, I guess, right, with their Hispanic president as it goes. Netanyahu's government could collapse over Aardvark's ultra-Orthodox military draft law. So where's the screams about anti-Semitism over this? The AP reports to us. And so, of course, these the big hat wearers, right, the Orthodox, they're not down with joining the military in the genocide. But Netanyahu is trying to force a vote to go ahead and draft the ultra-Orthodox Aardvarks as well into the military so they can partake in genocide. And so there you go, anti-Aardvarkism by Netanyahu there. But nobody cares. Okay, continuing. Yemen, what's going on? Yemen says its missile directly hit Aardvark Land's Ben Gurion Airport. 2 missiles fired, 1 hypersonic named Palestine 2. Airport struck as air defenses failed to intercept it, according to Houthi military spokesman. Let's hear from him now.
غزة نفذت القوة الصاروخية في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية نوعية استهدفت مطار اللد في منطقة يافا المحتلة، وذلك بصاروخين باليستيين، أحدهما فرط صوتي نوع فلسطين 2 والآخر نوع ذي الفقار، وقد أصاب أحدهما مطار اللد بشكل مباشر، وفشلت المنظومات الاعتراضية في التصدي غزة.
Allegedly, here's the area, so we can see where they're talking about. They say every missile they launched is a win because it essentially terrorizes the Aardvark population and makes them go in there, makes them sound the air sirens and go in their bunkers. And so, but they're claiming this most recent missile was a direct hit on the airport there. So the 2 sanctioned, by the way, are our favorite 2 cartoon villains out of Aardvark Land, always trying to start the apocalypse, the end of the world, end times. These 2 jokers right here, of course, Ben Gvir and the old Smoke Trick. And so they're pretty damn evil. They both said basically starve them to death, kill them all. Who cares? You know what I mean? They're the ultra Zionists for sure. They're both over there at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, constantly trying to provoke the Muslims to do something as they desecrate their holy site, trying to incite a wider war definitely provocateurs here. And so these are the two aforementioned top aardvark ministers that the other Five Eyes nations have put sanctions against. So maybe they don't want the end of the world, and it's just America and aardvark land that want the end of the world here. Now, engineered in large part by these two complete maniacs. There you go.
And I'm posting a post on my account here from Mike Ben Cyber, which contains the guides, the documents from the CIA. They're open documents now, stating it's literally the CIA's How to Start a Riot guide, showing use of hiring professional criminals and agitators to get ethnic minority groups, student groups, and unions angry against a government, then trigger riots of 10,000 people plus with just 100 agitators. And this is what they've been using, and Soros and others have been using for decades around the world to overthrow governments. And I mean, look, going over this, I watched this earlier today. It's really brilliant, his breakdown here of this. And of course, he has a three-letter history and so on. So I'm posting this on my X account at AOEVC Breakthrough right now, with a bunch of tags for law enforcement and Trump and Republicans and so on. So if more people can see this, I really encourage you to share this with everybody that needs to see it. This is really quite informative. And this is exactly what I've seen in all of my interactions with these NGOs and dev orgs internationally in these emerging markets, them setting this up, doing this, promoting this, organizing this. And it's very clear they're getting close, and they've been working at it. They work away at it in some sphere, some theater for some time, and then it kind of like dies off, goes away, something. They focus on some other area coordinated during some other time period. And then they come back and start fomenting this. They're doing it again right now in Cambodia, on both sides, the Vietnam side and the Thai side. And they just had, I don't know if it was them, but it's very likely. And there's been a number of actions in that particular area of the country where CIA has funded different groups through Thailand involved in potentially assassinating the Prime Minister of Cambodia. And here we see again out of the same, I'm sure it's just another coincidence, out of the same area, someone supposedly in the Thai army shoot on a little nest of Cambodians just sitting like inside of their own country, inside of their border in a peaceful area, shoot at them and kill one of them. And now you've got this interesting, strange border clash out of nowhere from nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. And it really fits the bill once again for what they're doing. And endless social media fomenting by the same people that have been involved in these fake news organizations, which have been very clearly deep state propaganda against the Hun Sen government, which is a patriotic nationalist, build their own country, be totally independent from everyone else, right? The same idea, which they hate and they demand to be destroyed. And they've been working on Cambodia for a long time. Of course, the Kissinger State Department carpet bombed the entire country of Cambodia, every last building. So I just posted that on my X account, something that I encourage everybody to watch. It's really fantastic.
Kind of like this.
Right, exactly like this. That's what they did. Completely just bombed absolutely everything. And then on top of that, they sprayed over 100 million tons, over a ton of chemical weapons. So blue, methylene blue, your genotoxins, cancer-causing genotoxic agents, spraying this on the people, over a ton of this for every man, woman, and child. They did. So are they going to spray the Palestinians afterward? Probably they are. They're injecting them as well. Say, oh, we'll have a ceasefire to get them injected. How humanitarian of them. How wonderful of them, right?
See, everything, public health trumps everything, even a genocide. Okay. We got a couple other stories. Same old Mike Huckabee. I hate this guy now. I used to like halfway I used to be like, he's all right. You know what I mean? But now this guy's he's a Christian Zionist piece of trash, honestly. Sorry to say, old Mike Huckabee there. But he just goes on to say, I'm not even going to play his clip because honestly, it makes me want to throw up. But what does he say? He says Washington, he's the ambassador. He is the ambassador to Aardvark land. We wouldn't have it any other way. He says, unless there are some significant things that happen that change the culture, there's no room for it. Talking about a two-state solution there in Palestine. There's no other way but to carve out land from another Muslim country, i.e. ethnic cleansing, and move the Palestinian people there off of Gaza and the West Bank, essentially, which he referred to by the settler preferred biblical name, Judea and Samaria. So there you go, a religious fanatic maniac on par with any radical jihadist that you could find. Mike Huckabee, ambassador to Aardvark land, proud Christian Zionist, real piece of garbage there. And wake up from your brainwashing, mind control, indoctrination by the Christian churches here in America that are feeding us all of this BS, which we have thoroughly exposed. The Schofield Bible, on and on it goes. Okay, last story here before we wrap up the day. We're going to end it on a good note on this Tuesday. They did not terminate Greta, and so poor little Greta, she has she's been deported from Aardvark land. She says, we were kidnapped by Aardvark land in international waters. There is a genocide going on in Gaza and systemic starvation following a blockade. There are no words to describe the betrayal happening every day by our own governments. So Greta's
did she sailed in on her 23 yachts again? Did she?
She's getting
motor powered, diesel powered, right? Remember, she sails across the world in her massive entourage of yachts, one for each of the sustainable goals.
She's growing up.
Diesel into the sky.
She's growing up and moving on to real causes with her activism here, and no longer the climate change. Let's hear from Greta. Thankfully, again, she made it. She was deported to, I believe this is in Paris, and was not terminated by the Aardvarks.
On international waters, we were illegally attacked and kidnapped by Israel and taken against our will to Israel, where we were detained, and then some of us deported, some are still there. There are very big uncertainties because it was quite chaotic and uncertain, so I don't really know what's going on. I haven't had a phone for many days. And
what were the conditions for you over the last few hours?
They were absolutely nothing compared to what people are going through in Palestine, especially Gaza right now. And this is yet another international a violation of international, countless of such, especially towards Palestinians, that Israel are committing by blocking and preventing humanitarian aid from entering Gaza. That is illegal.
How did the Israelis treat you? We saw them giving out sandwiches on their social media. How did it?
Yeah, they probably have posted lots of PR stunt videos. As I said, I have not seen anything, but they did an illegal act by kidnapping us on international waters and against our will, bringing us to Israel, keeping us in the bottom of the boat, not letting us getting out, and so on. But that is not the real story here. The real story is that there is a genocide going on in Gaza and a systematic starvation following the siege and blockade now, which is leading to food, medicine, water that are desperately needed to get into Gaza is prevented from doing so. But of course there are many attempts like this mission, both by sea and land, to break that siege and open up a humanitarian corridor.
Could I ask you, did you said you had no contact at all with any of your other colleagues from the boat when you were detained? Is that what you said?
No, that's not what I said. I was just mainly speaking. I don't really know what's going on because...
You don't know what's going on with the others?
Are you worried about the
others? I wasn't
others?
able to say goodbye.
Are you worried about the others, that they might be detained for any length of time?
Yeah, I'm very worried about them. We heard many different messages pointing towards that they would not make it easy. and there were troubles with being able to see lawyers. So I'm very...
So there you go. Greta's still alive. Sadly, our chat is not big Greta fans. Isn't she mentioned?
They're saying that that's Hansel. It's Hans. Hans Hansel. Hansen. Yes, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't detect even a 1% femininity there. I mean, holy crap.
She's autistic. You guys are making fun of handicapped kids now. Come on, man.
And you got that's come out, all of the big celebrities, LA celebrities, people put all of their kids, like the top 25 celebrity children, all on one poster, and it's all trans kids. They're all trans kids. So here we have another Brigitte Macron, Hansen. So Hans Thunberg. How about that? It certainly it certainly looks it today to me. So does she have a twin brother? There at the audience is all asking. Greta tried to slip Hansen past us. I ain't falling for it. Another commenter. Hans. Yes, I think it's Hans. I want some evidence. I want to. I'll believe it when I see it now.
Oh man, she's trying out there to raise awareness about the genocide. So let's at least give her that. Okay, that's all we got.
Don't you dare fund those breakthrough energy innovators. It's all about CO2.
And have you contacted Greta? Maybe she can. You guys can.
I was in contact with some of the orchestrators behind the campaign. In fact, when I was talking to the UN and the World Economic Forum before they brought in Hans, I was the one with the "How Dare You" campaign. They stole that from me. They actually stole my "How Dare You" campaign, and one of their Swedish CIA guys connected to this major CIA front organization here in Cambodia called the Asia Foundation. His wife was working in there, and he's involved in that as well. He's in Sweden, Stockholm, and they were talking to me for like 3.5 weeks, wasting my time and then threatening me. And
threatening you.
And this is right. This is the from the 2016. They were really actively monitoring everything I was doing in my campaign. Took that, and in 2019, I was talking to them, and they were running the Greta fake campaign there out of Stockholm, Sweden, and whatnot. So, and what they're doing, right? I mean, this is for depopulation, for genocide, for world control, etc. And they didn't like that I was doing this. They didn't like that I was doing breakthrough energy, and they're even trying to.
Well, we don't want a solution because that'll take all their jobs away. Come on, man.
They're trying to frame it that I was supposedly doing this to get revenge for the death of my brother. What do you mean, get revenge? Like this is such a horrible, evil, militaristic act against them or something to bring breakthrough energy into the world. I mean, that's their view of this. And to go and do something like this in somewhere like Southeast Asia, which is targeted for genocide.
All I heard was that hate fuels your generators.
Hate generators? Maybe I should call them hate generators. What are they? What's wrong? What are they running on? How does it work? They run on hate. They run on hate.
All right, friends. That's all we got for tonight. Yeah, that probably is. I'll probably check it out. But yeah, be aware. Side note, disclaimer. Thomas did post that Mike Benz clip where he's breaking down CIA engineering riots and of course subversion around the world. I'll probably check it out. But be aware, he is an intelligence agent as well,
and an aardvark as well, an entrenched.
And there you go. So disclaimer: be aware. Take it with a grain of salt. But as they always do, they give you a lot of truth with disinfo. So just keep all that in mind. And that's all we got for today. Let's go to the channels on this Tuesday. It doesn't look like we're getting any closer to peace in Russia, Ukraine.
At least he admits it and he's proud of it and he's out there public about it, where Naomi Wolf is definitely not.
Yeah, true. So no peace in Ukraine, no peace in Aardvark land. Let's hope that it dies down. It looks like they're going to keep it going all week, though, honestly, all these left-winger crazies, well funded too, by the way.
And hopped up on methylene blue.
Hopped up probably a lot more than that, but looks like they're going to keep it going. So we'll have plenty to report on here as we get to, I guess, the next checkpoint as far as major events is going to, unless something happens out between now and then, it'll be June 14th. And then it looks to really kick off here in America. We'll see what all happens.
And will Bongino or Kash Patel actually go and arrest these organizers who, like the citizens,
shut it down, seize their bank accounts, shut it down.
Right. I mean, they're not a Canadian truckers protest. We can't close their bank accounts.
They're not protesting public health tyranny. So no, they're just protesting actually the government, federal government, doing one of the things they're actually supposed to do is enforce our immigration law if you're following the Constitution, but who cares about any of that?
Orchestrate to orchestrate.
There you go.
Problem, reaction, solution.
Problem, reaction, solution. Hegelian dialectic, classic means of control, and we see it over and over and over and over, and just endless, right? But if it works, it works, and so why change your playbook when it's working? And so that makes perfect sense to me. If more people would just become aware and say this is all a game, the dialectic you're using against me, mind control, social engineering program, I choose not to comply and don't go along with it, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But it's so much fun, isn't it, to burn the electric cars or battery powered cars that are in the street in LA. Battery cars in LA.
Yeah, they're sending all of the Waymo cars, the driverless cars, supposedly Waymo cars there, and right from Tesla Motors. Let's burn some more. I guess, hey, when you got a problem with so many stock that you can't sell, hey, volunteer them right into the riots. Hey, good solution. It's all for climate.
Anything to save the climate. Thankfully, Greta is well. Okay, we're signing off here now. Over to the channel, Odysee. I see a few people. Huffman, John, Highland. Thank you guys for tuning in. What do we got? I wouldn't be surprised if we try effing you over bigly on the 25th. On the 250th. I wouldn't be surprised either, Huffman. That would not surprise me if they try to do something bad to America on that day. As we reported at the beginning, they're pumping out there now that, hey, Al Qaeda's back threatening the president. So, we can never get rid of this boogeyman terrorist out there. Thank you guys for tuning on Odysee. We appreciate it and keeping that chat lively. The Bitchute audience, a few people over there. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Bitchute. Appreciate it. The YouTube, again, newly monetized. Until we're not, please give us a subscription over on the YouTube as we campaign to reach 1,000 subscribers. Again, thank the audience for all of the views, the hours watched. You really helped us. And I don't know what's going on with Barry. He just fell off the face of the earth. No contact with him. I've tried calling, texting, emailing, nothing. So I'll keep trying, but no word from Barry. So let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. Over to the Rumble. Lively chat on the Rumble as always. Thank you, everybody, for participating there. What else do we got? We got X. Thank you for tuning in on X, Kick, Twitch, and I think that's it. As always, everybody do your own research, peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for more weaponized news. Hope